like, man, these guys are just ruined. Like,
I know this one guy who like bought a Bugatti and he didn't pay his taxes that year because most of these small entertainers I talk to, they don't even realize they have to pay taxes. And it's like, I'm like, dude, so you didn't pay taxes last year? And he's like, no, it's not that big a deal. No one's gonna know. I'm like, bro, you got to be kidding me. And this guy, he made like $1 million that year. Yeah, it's like I have to. It's like taxes are ridiculous too. Like, I have to pay like $500,000 in taxes this year. It's fucking incredible. And it's like this dude just bought a Bugatti. He didn't even. It's so stupid. I absolutely. But it's a lot of these young entertainers that don't realize that they have to, save up. You have to pay your taxes. You really don't make as much money as you think you're making. You make like a very small fraction of that, to be honest.
It's like every time. It's like every time you hear about like this NFL player got his $10 million signing bonus or his $1 million signing bonus for an entry level contract or whatever, and they immediately go out and buy a $700,000 house and a $250,000 car, and then like an accountant comes by and is like, yeah, so you just spent a huge sum of money that you don't technically have. So you really, from that million, had about 530,000 of it that you could have, and the rest was taxed or whatever it would be, depending on where they are. And yeah, that's something that they need to teach you in school better. Like
I know, right? They should have a mandatory class on that. I heard you say that before, Merca, and I was like, this is so true. Because like, if I didn't learn about fucking trigonometry in school, and they changed that class with like how to do your taxes, that would be so much more helpful in life. Like, I don't know. I feel like they should have a mandatory class where you should learn how to do your own taxes.
I've never had to calculate the circumference of a circle, and I've had to do taxes many times. And like when I go to my accountant, it's not like they're showing it to me, and I'm like, yes, a thing that you may have overlooked, ma'am. It's just like, I guess I trust you. Like, okay.
Please don't fuck me. Here's all my finances. Charge me whatever you think.
So the thing about taxes that I'm trying to get out is like, it's a big thing. It's like 1/3 to like 40% of your income if you're making a lot, and especially if you're not going to earn that next year. Oh, now you have this liability out there, and you might think, well, there's a slim chance I'm getting caught, right? What is it, 5% for someone on a high income? Yeah, do that for 5 years in a row, and all of a sudden there's like a real chance. Do that for 10 years in a row.
$1 million now.
Yeah, right now. You owe like $1 million, and you don't get out of taxes. Like that's like you might get out of credit card debt, declare bankruptcy or whatever. Like the government doesn't play that shit. They just
they just wait.
Yeah,
just garnish your wages.
Yeah. We'll just take half of what you earn until you die.
Or they put you in prison. Look at Richard Hatch. Now there's a guy who made $1 million, one straight shot. He won Survivor season 1. Didn't pay his goddamn taxes on that money. What are you thinking, Richard? You just won $1 million on the most popular reality show of all time. Like you're a goddamn star for winning $1 million. Pay that fucking tax. He didn't pay it. He went to prison.
Yeah, because he didn't have any other choices. He didn't have the cash.
I think you have to ditch out on a lot of taxes before they'd send you to jail.
Because $1 million does it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because usually they'll do what he said.
Yeah, I really wouldn't want people in jail to know that like. I really wouldn't want other people in prison to know that like the reason why I'm there is because I didn't pay my taxes. Because then I would get raped. Because, honestly, everyone else is there for, murdering someone. It's like you're there for not paying your fucking taxes. I don't know. I just feel like you'd be such
a thinking they might take a good hard look at you and be like, I don't know, better not rape him. He might be a rough customer. And I don't think I want to find out. What about you, Jaquan? No, not me either.
I just
that
honestly,
conversation never happened.
Yeah, I just act crazy in prison. If I wanted to get away from getting raped, I just act like the pain doesn't hurt. Or some shit like that, because that's the only way I feel like you can actually get away from it.
He don't even mind it. This boy. Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd be fine as long as you didn't beat someone to death on the way to not paying your taxes. Like you just go into tax evasion jail, right? That's not like that's a thing, right? But they don't put you
tax evasion jail, right? With a bunch, you go in there, hell, you end up coming out with your fucking CPA and some tax advice, right? You're in there with a bunch of guys who are also hiding their money and shifting it around.
You know what? Who knows? Amongst that group, maybe you're the big fish in the small pond, and the potential rapee becomes the rapist.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe.
Hopefully not.
In there, and maybe you could throw some rape down. You never know.
Or it could go down like in the first episode of Oz, where you go in severely underestimating how intense it's going to be, and then all of that shattered in the first half hour.
Do you think? I don't think that would happen with any of us because we all have this crazy fear and these expectations of prison. I think if I had to bet, I would guess that prison isn't as bad as we think it is.
Yeah, have you guys seen that one YouTuber, the After Prison Show guy? I gave him a shout out before.
Maybe.
What's up?
Is his name Hard 8 Times?
No, his name is After Prison Show. He has like 100,000 subs, and he makes videos about prison all the time. And he basically says that he didn't murder a bunch of people. He just went for 7 years because he was apparently he was dealing coke, I think. Mm-hmm. And he says that it's not like that. You don't have to really worry about dropping the soap unless you're super vulnerable, you act super vulnerable. Then you're gonna have to worry about that. But he says that it's not really that big a deal.
To be fair, though, the guy that has a coke connection is gonna do better, right?
The Hard 8 Times guy, he also went to prison, and I'll say because it's relevant. At least his voice sounds like a tough black guy. That's my impression of him. I've never seen him, but he's a gamer, so I don't know what he looks like. And he told a bunch of scary stories of prison riots and shit, and how he got a shank, and somebody left a Snickers on his bed, and if he takes it, now he's indebted to him, and he had to give it back, and they were wrestling, and he told the stories with detail that made it sound like it was really true. The wrestling fighting thing, he didn't win.
I just got really hungry when you mentioned that Snickers.
He's you ever wrestle with someone, and that person
would I turn it down?
Has
no,
a way,
I need it.
That person has a way of getting the better position and such. That's what this guy did. He managed to flip.
He told one story where I think I remember that, where he there was some guard he was talking to, and he overheard the guards talking about marital problems they were having because of money or some shit. And so he went over to one of the guards because I guess he had some I think he majored in finance or some shit, and he was telling him I know a little trick to this that'll help you. The guards got furious, started to almost beat him. They stopped because the other inmates liked him more. Eventually he's all right, we'll give you a little bit of special treatment because you're being a nice guy. We need you to help us on the roof. And so he gets all of his inmate friends.
This is Shawshank Redemption.
This is Shawshank Redemption.
I wanted to see how long
it didn't take long at all.
I thought you were just talking about Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, goddamn. Hard 8 Times is a real life Andy Dufresne. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was
Hard 8 Morgan Freeman
is light years from a finance degree. This guy.
No, I remember him telling us
that it's a high school degree.
He said nothing tasted quite like that beer on the roof. Just a minute.
Dude, Hard 8 Times used to give me shit all the time. He would attack me nonstop. I never said a word about him. I think this might be the first time I've ever mentioned him. But he was one of those channels that just always fucking dogged me out of just jealousy. I never did shit to that guy. But
I love that. That was funny. I was like, this sounds so much like Shawshank. What a tail this man has. Why did I never watch these videos? I thought he was a fucking scumbag thug. Turns out he had one of the greatest American stories of all time.
Part of gold,
The worst part is he was framed for
He crawled through a half mile of shit and piss, and he came out the other side as a free man.
Yeah.
Wait, so how did that guy in Shawshank get thrown in prison again? Was that because he was drunk?
All right, so his wife's cheating on him, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking do them, man. And he goes to where they're.
Oh yeah.
And he changed his mind, throws the gun away, and then someone else moves in, kills him, and now his gun's missing, and he had the motive, and they just railroaded him. Yeah,
well, I feel like the time in the experience in Oz where the guy is drunk driving, he kills someone. I feel like that would be the only time I'd actually go to prison. Is it's if I'm so drunk and I just don't even realize it, and I just go in my car and kill someone. It's that would be the only time I could ever see myself.
No, you blame the car. Blame the car. You're all good with this because you have that Tesla. It's gonna get you home.
It was on auto drive.
True.
Yeah.
True. I should use that.
I think that